Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Super Sessions with Suen, where our goal is to inspire, motivate, and empower you to always show up as the super version of yourself. This session is going to be our lifestyle edition, a perfect follow up to our Mother's Day edition session. And we have a very dynamic guest in our super seat for you today. This lady wears many hats as well. She is a transformational speaker. She is a life coach. She is also an author. And I can't wait to get into it to tell you all about Miss Judith Hall. She is in our super seat today. But before we get to Miss Hall, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. I want to thank all our sponsors for the lifestyle episode today. JWG Publishing House, and Ahava Nursing Registry. We will be right back. Thank you.
Do you have a story to share? Maybe an experience or information that can transform somebody's life? Maybe you want to grow your business by writing a book. JWG Publishing House has helped hundreds of authors to turn their dream into publishing reality. Publishing a book without the knowledge of the process can be very frustrating. Not to worry, our award-winning team will patiently walk you through the process, from idea to cover to the end product. And get this, you will own 100% of your royalties. We are the only authentic independent publisher you will ever need. So what are you waiting on? Call us today at 561-412-7772. We're waiting to serve you.
All right, welcome back, Super Peeps, to another episode of Super Sessions with Suen. As I said, this is our lifestyle episode, and we have an amazing guest in our super seat today. Her name is Miss Judith Hall, and she is with us today. How are you, Judith? Welcome to the super seat.
Thank you so much, Suen. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Judith. And I just want to tell everybody how we even got connected. So a friend of mine actually shared your book with me. And the title of this book, everyone, is Too Fat, Too Thin, Why Do I Hate the Skin I'm In? 11 Strategies to Activate the Badass, Confident Woman Within You. I saw this topic and I was like, man, I have to talk to Miss Hall about this. And
yes, ma'am.
So let's get into it, Judith. How did you come up with that title?
Well, I've always been good with finding topics, and I like to rhyme words. And I also wanted to find a topic that would grab the attention of the women and girls for whom it is intended. I always saw other books on self-help, and there's so many. There are thousands in the space. So I kind of wanted to distinguish myself from everybody else and not sound, like I was just a carbon copy of everybody else. But I said, what can I say? And, a gentleman said to me, don't write badass. And I took it out and I wrote, the decisive, confident woman within you. And I said, that's not sizzling in my spirit. And I got a better group and I put them out there and I said, tell me guys, if you had a chance to read one of these two books, I had like 60 people and everybody chose the badass. I said, there it is. I was right. I like it. Some people might feel like I'm outraging their, sensibilities and morality, but that's not the intent. The intent is so you grab this book and so it can deliver what's inside for you, for your transformation.
Well, you have definitely caught my attention, Judith, and I'm sure you caught many people's attention. We just want to pick up the book and say, hey, I got to read this. So this journey of writing this book, can you describe that for us? Was there any supernatural elements along your journey while writing this book?
I think so. I think God preserved my eyesight because he wanted it to come to fruition. I started writing it during the pandemic. And by December, I got COVID the first time, and the next time I got it, it was the next year in July. So I got it twice. And during this period, I went blind several times a day because I have diabetic retinopathy. And the doctor said, you have 6 months to a year to have vision still. And I'm like, God, that's not my portion. I reject it. I reject it. And here I am 5+ years later. But you asked about the supernatural part of it. God definitely had a hand in bringing this book to fruition, because I describe it as the curtains descending on the final act of a play. I'll be sitting there and I'll be coughing, and all of a sudden the world went dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and it felt like a shutter coming down, until finally for hours I was in the dark and I sat there. I didn't even move. I said, Lord, I know this is going to change. I am not even going to accept that. And it went on like that for about 2 weeks until the coughing subsided, and then I started seeing again. But for a diabetic, that's a miracle, because blindness is one of the challenges that people with diabetes experience.
Wow, Judith, I have to say, during that time, I can't even imagine it, but look at you today, like your vision is fine. Sometimes I guess you go through some darkness at some of some sorts to get to light at the end of the
Right.
tunnel. And here is that light right now, this amazing book that you have to help women,
Yes, ma'am.
so
I totally agree with you.
yes, and darkness could be many things. Like it could be literally like for you for a couple weeks, and it could be just periods of time in our lives
Right.
that are dark, right?
Absolutely. That's a good analogy. I like that. Yes.
Yes, Judy, but the light is at the tunnel and you're sharing your light right now with this book. And I just want to get into the book a bit. So can you tell us, what should women expect to feel or to get from reading this book, to help them with showing up as a super version of themselves?
Oh man, there's so much to unpack. So much. And I'm just gonna give you a hint of what's inside, right? I'm gonna read a
Yes.
few of the I talk about the journey of time. It's a poem I wrote to relate to the topic I was writing. And one of
Yes.
the things that stood out for me was that women are universal. We are the mothers of paupers and kings, and the connecting links in universal things. So nothing happens without women, and yet we are not getting the kind of traction in society, the kind of respect amid the misogyny and the inequities of life leveled against women, the silencing of our voices, the way somebody wants to tell us to do with what to do with our bodies. So for me, it's not that there are some things that I agree with, because I'm not a proponent of even say abortion, but at the same time, I don't think a man should be telling a woman about abortion. You know what I'm saying? So the patriarchal constructs that have always been a part of our lives, that patriarchy has determined even how we should feel about how we look. Look at the social media Look at the social media platforms and how they want to put women and pit them against each other and say, oh, this woman is beautiful because she looks more Eurasian, or this other woman is not pretty enough because she's dark skinned and plump, and this one is Indian. So, it just boggles my mind when I think about how they decide what the beauty constructs are. Because beauty is a construct.
It
It
is.
Your beauty is not contingent on how you look, because it has
Mhm.
to emanate from within. So
Yes.
I talk about stuff like that. In Pythagoras, he said a woman's face has to be this long and this narrow for her to be considered beautiful. And I talk about female genital mutilation. I go around that side of the world, the eastern part, and then I come to the United States and I go to Asia and I talk about Chinese foot binding. I talk about the dancehall culture in Jamaica. Nothing is sacrosanct. I touch on everybody. I even talk about the resiliency of the 21st century woman, despite all those, you know, things that would impinge on her self-esteem. So for me, it's a book that every woman should read. And I talk about how men ought to read it too. They should read it. And I dedicate a part of it to my women and girls and to the men who have the courage to love us responsibly. So a lot of men do not have a clue how to treat a woman. So this book is also for them. And I was very strategic in asking my male friend to write my foreword. His name is Lawrence, and Albert Lawrence. He lives in Canada. He did a great job. And he was a voice for women, a champion of women as well.
Wow, I love, Judith, how you get the men involved because they are our counterpart. They need to know all these things about us so they can, as you said, know how to love us better, how to support us better. And I love how global your book is. I didn't
It
realize
is.
it touched on so many different parts of the world. I didn't get to finish it yet,
Yeah.
but I am excited to continue reading it and to see what else is there. And another thing you said that resonates is beauty shines from within. It
Mm-hmm.
shines from within. So with that said, Judith, from all your experience as an educator, a coach, a speaker, and an author of this amazing book we all need to get our hands on, what would you say is your superpower as this dynamic woman you are?
Yeah. My superpower is definitely my advocacy for people who are marginalized. I feel like I have to be that voice that champions women's and girls' causes. And yes, somebody might say, why just women and girls? Because that's my demographic. And we are the one with the issues in terms of how we are treated in society. So it's a man's world. I even have a line in here that says, Beyonce said, who runs the world? And she said, her answer is girls. And I said, I don't think so. The world is controlled by old white men who patriarchy is controlling the narrative of women.
Right.
And I think it's time for, instead of trying to marginalize us, they join us to amplify our voices.
That is so on point, Judith. And thank you for your superpower being an advocate for us because we need to be our own advocates more than you think. Like, as you said, yes, it may seem and it's out there, girls run the world, but we know who do. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to get together and advocate each other and highlight women like you who that is your natural superpower to advocate for us. So
Right.
we want to thank you for that. And women who are looking to become more of an advocate or just, show up how they're so how God made them to show up, super version of themselves. What is a tip you would share for them to help them along that journey?
That's an excellent question, Suen, because most women don't realize that everything that they need to succeed is inside of them. Some people talk about, oh, I don't have any money, so I can't do this and I can't do that. But if you come from the mindset that everywhere, money is everywhere present, you just need to call it into, and if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't achieve it, either way, that's what Confucius said anyway, either way you are right. Because if you doubt yourself, you're not going to take that step. And if you believe in yourself, you're going to be relentless about pursuit of what you want. And when I say that everything you need to succeed is inside of you, every woman, every girl has something that they do really well. They just have
Yes.
never spent the time to uncover what that is. And it's going to be your moneymaker. Me, I can use myself as an example. I can't remember when I couldn't read. My mom, Daphne Mae Messam Brown, my late mother, whom I laid to rest in January of this year, she made me believe in myself. She told me that I had to learn to read from an early age, but besides telling me, she showed me. I would lay beside her after she had finished her chores and I'd finished shining the floor with that coconut husk brush. And then she would spread a blanket with some pillows and snacks for me. And she would pull out the books and I would picture read. She had coloring books for me. and I would picture read and imagine. I said I became an Imagineer because of her. That's an engineer of the imagination. So because of
Yes.
that, I believe that I could, but I knew at some point I wanted to write. It took me a long, long time. I've been writing short stuff here and there, and writing some stuff for other people, but I've come into my own now, and that was always within me. So as soon as a woman peels back the curtain and figures out what her superpower is, mine is my writing and my speaking and my advocacy. What do you have? Maybe it is that you are great at decorating. The question now is, how do I bring this into present time and start to earn from it?
Right.
They
How
might
do
need
you?
a little help, but it is there. Everything you need is inside of you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Judith. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. We as women, as you said, need to just discover our superpower, discover
Mhm.
ourselves, and what is that money maker for us? What can we monetize? And we're gonna enjoy doing it as we go, because that's
Yes.
what we're really great at. So,
Right.
yes, Judith. So thank you for sharing that. And before we go, I would love for you to share, where can we reach you? Everything we need to know, how your website, your handles, so that we can get our hands on this book.
Absolutely. So my website is judithdhall.com. It's a very beautiful website, even if I do say so myself, Swen. And I have on it, all my social media handles are there. But more importantly, too, when you go to my website and you purchase the book, even if you don't purchase the book, there is a glossy image there as an ebook that is called 10 Atomic Habits of a Confident Badass Woman. And when I tell you, Swen, that it is hard hitting, and not to mention the fact that there are 10 pictures of some beautiful women that you don't want to miss. Really, really. And then I put the narrative to them. It's not a lot of reading. The pictures take up most of the page because people love to look at beautiful pictures. So when you go to the site, you can avail yourself of that. I also have other kids' books that I write, which I'm hanging up today. I'm in the process of putting them up. I started this morning. I have 6 children's books that are coming out on Amazon. So I consider myself now a prolific writer. My audiobook is coming out at the end of, maybe early June. Young lady
Okay.
said the end of this month who is reading it, but early June perhaps. So I have
Well,
a body of stuff I can share with women and children and everybody.
yes, and we look forward to it, Judith. As I said, we are happy that you are sharing your superpower. You stepped into it and you're sharing it with the world. And it's just going to help us to show up as a super version ourselves.
Yep.
So I want to thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you. Please keep doing the great work you're doing. And we look forward to having you back at some point down the road.
Thank you, Suen. I honor you. I appreciate you. And thanks for the opportunity.
Awesome. You're so welcome. Okay, super peeps, as we end our session, I just want to echo what Miss Judith Hall said. We as women need to find our superpowers and monetize it. So as you go about your day today, your week, the year, tap into yourself and really think about what your superpowers are. All right, have a great day, everyone. Take care.
Do you have a story to share? Maybe an experience or information that can transform somebody's life? Maybe you want to grow your business by writing a book. JWG Publishing House has helped hundreds of authors to turn their dream into publishing reality. Publishing a book without the knowledge of the process can be very frustrating. Not to worry, our award-winning team will patiently walk you through the process, from idea to cover to the end product. And get this, you will own 100% of your royalties. We are the only authentic independent publisher you will ever need. So what are you waiting on? Call us today at 561-412-7772. We're waiting to serve you.